Yo, what's up guys, woahcxlts here, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be telling you if you should switch from controller to keyboard and mouse, and if you should do this, I can give you some tips and tricks on it. So let's get on to the video. So there are many reasons that you could or could not switch to keyboard and mouse, but we're going to focus on the reasons that you should. So for starters, on controller, unless you have paddles, there's not that many keybinds you can click, but rather on keyboard and mouse, you have an entire keyboard and a mouse with side buttons you can use. So this gives you a lot of flexibility, and it also helps your gameplay in many different ways. It also gives you a more customizable experience when choosing your keybinds, so you can become more comfortable in the game, in ranked, or just in general. A couple of examples of the flexibility consist of things like scroll or reset, which on controller you kind of have that now that they've put in the one bind reset, but on keyboard and mouse it's so much easier to just scroll your mouse wheel down and have resets on a build. And this helps your gameplay mainly for the fact that you can trick out an opponent by making them shoot a wall, and then you are able to pre-fire them and reset your wall back. So to move on to our next factor of why keyboard players have an advantage over controller players is just the fact of mechanics. Even though keyboard players have a slight disadvantage because they're only able to move in 8 directions, while controller players have a 360-degree movement. That's okay because our mechanics are much better than controller players because you get your entire keyboard to use, as we said earlier, you get an entire keyboard and you get your mouse. For controller players, however, they only get their controller, and if they do have paddles, they can use that, but the problem is their whole hand's already on the controller, so as they're trying to click their paddles, they may end up clicking another button. So editing and building are a real advantage we have on keyboard than the controller players do, because we have scroll reset, and we also have much faster mechanics because we have our entire keyboard. In my opinion, I would say that the average keyboard player has much faster editing, but also the controller player probably has more consistent building. But our building is more functional and it's much easier because we have the mouse side buttons. Even though many people believe the controller's building is much more consistent, we are able to use one button to build rather than a controller player having to use their build and then they have to choose what they want to build. So as we look at the pros and cons of keyboard and mouse rather than controller, you can see many different things such as your building and mechanics. Even though the building isn't as consistent, it's much faster. So this makes up for the lack of consistency we have with our building. We also have much faster edits as keyboard and mouse players, such as scroll wheel reset and our ability to have edit on release. Even though controllers have edit on release, it's much harder for them to make consistent and fast edits. Also, even though controller players have aim assist, we can use our entire arm to aim, and we also get the benefits of using Kovacs and aim trainers on the internet while controller players cannot, because they don't have access to these programs. If you do have the feeling to switch, in my opinion, I would say it's a good choice, just because if you want to increase your skill ceiling, it's a much easier way to do this just by switching to keyboard and mouse rather than playing on controller. Because of all these reasons, that's your best idea to switch. So now let's get on to the tips and tricks aspects of why you should switch to keyboard. And honestly, just to improve, all you need to do is just grind out your mechanics. So a lot of free building, a lot of box fights and zone wars. I recommend just doing free building and learn the fundamentals. Things like 90s, double edits, Mongol classics, triple edits. And then as you become better, you're able to learn things like tunneling, ramp rushing, and everything else. But your goal is to get good binds and then to just start grinding out the game to get better, because as you get better, your rank goes up, and then you might be able to start competing in tournaments and start doing well and placing high. Many controller players don't switch to keyboard and mouse just because of the fact that they think it's going to take a really long time to start learning how to play on keyboard. But in reality, playing on keyboard only takes around 2 to 3 days to start getting good at, and then you can start playing ranked and playing pubs even if you're not comfortable. All it takes is just the mastery of your keybinds and then start learning the fundamentals. So just to give you guys a personal experience, it's taken me around 6 to 8 months to get where I'm at. I haven't really been playing keyboard and mouse for a very long time because I played double claw with paddles on my controller, and I've been a controller player for as long as I can remember, even playing FNCS when it first came out. So making the switch was hard for me, but as I started getting better, making the switch was much easier. So to elaborate on why the Switch was ended up being so easy, just because of the fact that I started to play just pressureless games that didn't matter at all, and then as I started to improve in creative and in 1v1s, box fights, zone wars, etc., after you start improving, then you can start going into your ranked modes or even like 1v1 maps where you're not going to get completely destroyed. And then as you improve, then you can start playing tournament and just getting better at the game in general because as we know, Fortnite changes every single week. New updates come out every week and sometimes even every day. And as this new season is coming out, you're going to start improving very, very quickly and then you're going to get to your Unreal ranking and start getting some earnings. So thank you guys for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and also go follow my Twitch, woahcxlts, X instead of an O. Thank you guys, and bye for now.